Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, what I've got here is a Homelite Shrub Shaper 17. It's a small 2-cycle hedge trimmer, but if you got any kind of trimmer blower that has a small 2-cycle engine, this video might apply to what's wrong with yours. So this thing did run for a while and it just stopped. It sat for a long time too, and so we'll take a look and see what's wrong. So right from the start, I could see that the fuel line was bad. You can see this one's very brittle and it's just falling apart. So this was definitely one of the problems. And the air cleaner too was also just old and just disintegrating. So a lot of times this could be the only problem. Just replacing the fuel lines would probably fix it. But in this case, it's a little bit more. So I did already replace the fuel line and the return line. And it did help. It started a little bit, but it's still not running. So there's more issues with the carburetor here. And I'll show you what I did there. All right, let's get in there and we'll get this filter cover off. Next thing we want to do is get the throttle cable off. It looks pretty easy. There's just a Phillips screw holding the cable here. If you can see it, I'll pull this back. So now we can pull that out, and then there's a T25 or 30 bolt here. And we'll just pull the throttle cable out of the way. Okay, I'm not sure how well you guys can see in there, but there's 2 bolts in here holding the carburetor in there. So let's start and get those out of there. And really, that should be the only thing holding this carburetor on here. Okay, that's all it was. Yeah, 2 bolts that hold it on. So you can see it there. So here's what the carburetor looks like. Pretty easy to remove. And then that's what's left on the engine. Now you got to be careful. Usually there's a block here. You don't want to lose any gaskets or anything that are still on there. So we're looking good so far. Now the filter housing just comes off with the bolts. And now we're down to the carburetor, and this is where I think all the problems are. Like I said, the bulb here, I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but it definitely has some cracks in it. So we're not getting, and I can feel it, fuel leaks out when you push on it. So let's start there. We'll take that apart. So to get the bulb out, real easy, just Phillips screws. Let's get those out of there. Alright, so almost there. Okay, finally, the bulb just comes out, and I don't know if you can see it better now. It's cracked. So underneath it, you can see there's not much going on there. Where we need to get into is underneath this cover. So it looks like just 2 more screws. Alright, so let's get in there. Alright, and alright, let's take that off and see what we got under here. So there's one of our problems for sure. Look at that and we'll see if there's anything under here. It looks like a little filter, and maybe not, I don't know, just a plug. So we'll look at that piece a little more later. And here, yeah, where our main problem exists is this gasket. You can see it's very brittle, a chunk of it's missing. So this is the problem. This piece, it's supposed to act as a diaphragm with this piece suspended in the middle. Obviously it's gotten brittle and broken, so there's no way that this carburetor was pumping fuel to the engine with this in that kind of shape. So underneath that gasket, what we got is a small pin here, I don't know if you can see it, that actually lets fuel through the carburetor. And that's should come with a rebuild kit is what we're going to use. So we got a bunch of components here that we can probably replace. So here's a rebuild kit I got on Amazon. They range anywhere from $5 to $10, and they appear to be the same kit, so I'm not sure if there's any quality differences in different kits. This is the one I got, and it also came with the new bulb. So here are the parts that came in the kit. Some extra ones for sure that I know that don't apply to this carburetor, but we'll see which of all of these pieces apply, and we'll change whatever we can. So we're going to rip into the carburetor and see which one of these pieces we're going to need. So I'm going to start here. There's only one screw. Seems to be holding everything together here. So I'm going to take that one out. Okay, I got it out, and you can see the spring already pushed everything up. So I'll get those pieces out of the way, and we'll see what we have. So on the right here is what came out of it, which actually looks pretty good. So I don't think there was a problem there. And here's the new ones. Came with the kit. But since I got the new ones, we'll go ahead and put all new parts in there. Now I did really quick go ahead and wash it out and blow out these ports. Make sure there were no clogs in it. Everything actually looked pretty good, so I'm going to reinstall those new parts on this side. Alright guys, that wasn't that easy to do. So what you have to do, the trick to it was put the spring in first and let it sit in there, and then take these two pieces like this whole assembly, actually three, and drop the whole assembly in there. It can be done. It's not easy. It took quite a few tries. Alright, the next step is we'll put this diaphragm back on. So the metal disc goes down, flip it around, lines up with the holes, and then we'll just go ahead and put that plastic cover back on. So the next thing I'm going to do is, we got this side on and looked at, and looks good. I'm going to go ahead and take these two screws off and see what we got going on this half of the carburetor. Okay, let's see what we got. Alright, not much going on this end, but we'll go ahead and look at the cover here. Looks like we also have some type of gasket or diaphragm. So we'll match that up in the kit and replace it. So the only other thing I can see that we need to replace, I don't know if you guys can see it really well, but there's a little filter screen down inside here, and it did come with the kit. So I'm going to try to pick that out and see if I can replace it. So of course it did come out super easy, fell on the ground, and took me like 10 minutes to find it again. But it looks like it's similar to what came in it. Let me show you guys, find the one that's from the kit. So here's the one from the kit. So what I'm going to do is just use a gauge pin to push it in there to kind of form that shape. We'll see if that new one fits. So I did get the screen in there. Yeah, well, all I did was use a pin that was undersized and pushed it in there nice and snug. So I don't know how well you can see it. It's in there. Looks good. Alright, so here on the other side I replaced everything. The gaskets that were there. Okay, so I got the cover back on, just need to snug it up. Alright, so we got both covers back on. Looks good so far. Alright, the last part is we'll get the new bulb and put it in this holder. and it just goes right down on the plastic housing, and I'll snug it down with the 2 bolts. Alright, so that's it. I got everything back with the, the kit for the rebuild of the carburetor. So all those pieces are back. So the next thing, we'll just go ahead and put it back on the hedge trimmer and hope it works. Alright, so now we'll just reattach the throttle. They made it pretty easy in this design. So you just push it through here, push it through the little hole in the throttle linkage. And all I got to do is tighten both. So I'll just here. Tighten it there a little bit. And we'll tighten that back up. Okay, just let me snug that up a little more. Okay, let's see if it works. Yep, throttle works. So I actually had to readjust it a little, but now it works really good. So that's how it should work. Okay, so I also reattached the fuel line and the return line, and we'll just, I don't have a filter, so I'll have to run one without it until I get one, but we'll put the filter cover back on anyway. So I did have to readjust the high and low needle settings to get it to run a little better. But after I did that, it runs really well. It idles, revs up, so no problems. So definitely, if you have a small engine, this could be what's wrong with it. I actually bought another small rototiller and found that it was just the fuel lines. The people that had it just got rid of it because the fuel line rotted away. So definitely stay tuned to the channel. Come back, subscribe, and I'm definitely having more content like this as far as a lot of other things too, machining videos, hobby RC stuff, things like that. So hope to see you guys soon.